Time to start another work week, and we have been slammed busy at work. Trying to wake up here. I want to talk about the anabolic window. The anabolic window. You know, some things just never, people just can't let go. And, you know, people still talk about the anabolic window and want to dispute adamantly. There is no such thing as an anabolic window. And then the other side, of course, favors a belief that there's an anabolic window, which is construed to be some magical period of time that's critical for you to ingest amino acids or proteins immediately within, I guess most people believe, 30 minutes of the workout, after the workout, post-workout. Look, I'm here to tell you, no, that's not correct. The anabolic window is actually what I would call an anabolic opportunity, and it's not about protein. See, that's the biggest misbelief there, is it's not about protein, it's about carbohydrates. It's not really about protein, it's about carbohydrates, because number one, if there's any period of time throughout the day where you're particularly worried about protein, it's going to be first thing in the morning, after you've fasted overnight while you've slept. That, if there's any period of time in the whole day where you need to actually single out and be most concerned about protein intake and ingestion, that's the time. That's the time when you first get up after fasting. Then you want to get some protein in you as quickly as possible. That makes sense to me. It's always made sense to me. It just makes common sense. The rest of the time, if you're really worried about protein in particular, or you think you really need to focus on it in some kind of particular time, especially around the workout, then you've already failed. Basically, it's a big fail. You already have let yourself down, because there should be adequate protein pooled in your bloodstream, in your body, all the day long, all day, all your waking period. The last thing you should have to worry about, you should have continual feedings of protein to keep that level up. But that protein should always be there. It shouldn't be any period of time where you just say to yourself, this is an opportune moment to get protein in. Anytime can be an opportune moment to get protein in, but when you've missed the mark is when you're coming from the back end and trying to restock protein that you've already run short because you failed to ingest enough protein, in the hours leading up to that. So first thing out of bed, that's when you really need to get the protein in my opinion, if there's any particular time. Well, it's not just my opinion, it's the fucking truth. It makes common sense. But as far as the anabolic window, I would say it's more of a window of opportunity, and it does not involve protein. It involves carbohydrates. Protein plays a part, so I can't say it doesn't involve it, but it's not anything that you have to be consciously aware of. It should already be a given. That should already be like that checklist I told you about. That's one of those things that should already be checked off that list, like big time checked off that list. Just scratch through, because that's how well taken care of that need should be. Protein is just a given. The muscle is going to be built from the protein. It's the bricks to build the brick house. So you're going to have to, that's the brick and mortar, the protein. So you're going to have to just have a constant source of that. So you need to have that in your bloodstream all the time. You understand what I'm saying? All the time. That should already be in there around that workout, because the level should be high all the time, fairly high, high enough, adequate. You should never run short on protein. As soon as you run short, your body's going to start to cannibalize itself. It'll get it from another muscle. So you don't want that to happen. Basic, very, very basic stuff. Keep the protein up in the body. But the anabolic window, or what I would call the window of opportunity, or anabolic opportunity, does exist. And it's really important, and it's a one-shot deal. You're not going to experience any more potential for growth in the 24-hour period than right around your workout. You will not experience any better opportunity, any more ideal opportunity where you can manipulate timing and nutrient intake to experience added anabolism, or to more secure, absolutely, to experience anabolism. If you fail to do it, you are absolutely compromising your potential for gains. You're absolutely compromising those gains. if you miss out. And it involves carbohydrate. And the reason it involves carbohydrate is you need some kind of, I'm going to say sugar, but when I say sugar, I'm not talking about refined white sugars. I'm talking, that'll work, but you'd have to be one desperate person, and the amount you would need would be ridiculous. Ridiculous, the amount you would need, you know, volume-wise of sugar, of just table sugar. So that's not, you know, I'm not going to say I've never done it. If I've been caught short in periods of time when I was really serious, when I was really big, when I really looked crazy, which has never been on YouTube. You'd have to go back further than that. You can Google. There's plenty of pictures out there of me. Yeah, I have, I could probably count it on maybe 6 or 7 times in my life. I have resorted to using table sugar, and it was a huge amount because you have to weigh out. You want to have, like, when they give you a test to see if you can manage blood sugar normally, if you can dispose of this sugar within a 2-hour period, is what they allow for. They give you 75 grams of glucose. 75 grams. So you want to mimic that. So no matter what body weight you are, you want at least 75 grams. Because that is that's just where they set the mark. They test you to see if you are, if you have an insulinogenic problem, or if you have a problem with managing sugars or any of this kind of thing, resistance, they're going to give you 75 grams of glucose, and they're going to allow for 2 hours for your body to manage that and dispose of that high blood sugar level that you're going to achieve from that. So you want to mimic that and create an insulin spike. You want that insulin. Nobody's going to argue that insulin builds muscle. Insulin absolutely builds muscle. Nobody's going to dispute that. Nobody's going to stand up and say, oh, insulin doesn't build muscle. It's not useful. Insulin's absolutely useful. But you already make enough insulin, as I've said before. If you're a normal, healthy person, there's no reason for you to resort to an outside of the body source when your body's a hormone producing machine. If it is functioning normally, you don't have any problem. You produce enough insulin, and it's very easy to control and manipulate. So you want to get at least 75 grams. Then you want to look at your body weight, okay? If you're kind of a bigger guy, you may want 100 grams. You may want 150 grams. So how do you know exactly how much? Well, here's how you know. You need to test with the glucose meter. You need to go pony up to 30 bucks, 35 bucks, whatever the hell it is. Get a little glucose meter and figure out what your blood sugar levels are. When you first rise up in the morning after fasting all night from sleep, see what your blood sugar level is. It should be below 90. That's what I'm telling you. It should be below 90. If you're in the 80s, that's awesome. That's actually, if you can be in the 80s, you're doing great. Then you get an idea of what you'll run midday or middle of the day or whatever. And you have to get used to how your body's going to react. So you're going to initially do this a few times in the day because it's going to be affected, of course, by meals and nutrients, what you've eaten. Have you had a lot of carbohydrates, starches, sugars, etc., etc., etc. But pre-workout, that's why I use the Carbohydrates, because there's no better source right now. There's nothing better on the market. It's a complex carbohydrate that behaves like a simple carbohydrate. It comes on faster than pure glucose and sustains, they advertise, up to 2 hours. Now, I've tested it in my own body, and it hangs out about an hour 20, an hour and a half, but that's with a really intense workout. So what do we know the workout does to blood sugar levels? It crashes it. It crashes blood sugar levels. So the ingestion of these simple carbohydrates, these otherwise sugars, pre-workout and intra-workout, pre-workout, intra, you just want to get it down the hatch. You know, you don't want to be halfway into your workout and still drinking on that. You want that in there to get that insulin response going. You want it in there either before you begin your workout, or you can still be sipping on it a little bit into the workout. You'll get a feel for it, trust me. So you want to get that sugar, for all intents and purposes, into the body, get that insulinogenic response, and then that is going to grab a hold of that, well, I'm using Carbohydrates, which is, like I said, complex carbohydrate, behaves like a simple sugar. It'll grab a hold of that, and as you're wringing out the muscles, for one thing, it's going to blunt the naturally induced cortisol release, cortisol response that is exercise induced. It blunts that. So that's the first thing, good thing. Second awesome thing is because the insulin level is going to come up, you're going to be able to drive it through the insulin, drive that shit back into the muscle. So you're actually mimicking what you would do, what a competition bodybuilder does when he depletes and then he carb loads. You're actually mimicking that, and you can spill just like you could, before a show, pre-contest time. So that's why you need to figure out how much your body can hold. Now, over time, you will be able to hold a little bit more, not only because you're going to get bigger, because you can actually train the muscles. You can train the muscles to store and hold more glycogen. I'm not saying incredibly tons more glycogen, but significantly more. I can hold a lot of glycogen. I mean, I really can. I can dispose of a great deal of it. So as that muscle's being wrung out, right? You're wringing that glycogen out because that's what's fueling the muscle. That's your pump. You're burning off that glycogen. Your body can supersaturate now because there's so much available. The insulin's there to drive it. And at the same time, at the end of the workout, while that insulin is still high, there's protein in the bloodstream. So protein is already being driven, just like the carbohydrate was, just like the simple sugar was. Protein is being driven into that muscle to immediately begin repair. There's no faster way you're going to get it done or get it to where you need it to go without that insulin. And that's the way you can do it. That's the way the common man can do it, or woman, I guess. But you're gonna experience gains. It'll double your current gains. There's no question. If you do this every single workout within less than 2 weeks' time, if you do this every single workout without fail, don't do it on days you don't work out. Within 2 weeks' time, you're going to jump up out of bed one morning and you're going to look pretty much like you look fully pumped. And you're just going to look like that all the time. Look, it's exactly the way guys look when they are using insulin from an outside source. The same thing happens. Over time, you're going to be able to hold more glycogen. Yes, it will improve the shape of your muscles. Yes, they will pop more. They will be bigger and rounder and healthier and more powerful because they're going to be super hydrated. It works. I've been doing it for, 15, 20 years, so I know it works. I've been doing it before there was Carbolin. I used other sources which were less effective but still extremely effective when compared to, not doing it all. Not doing it. So I know it works. Lots and lots of people have tried it around me, and they don't do it any other way. That's what they do now. So that's about it. Now with your glucose meter, like I said, once you know where you normally would run, you may want to, so you can determine how much carbohydrate you can hold, whatever you're using. You want to check out what your blood sugar is before you ingest your carbohydrate drink pre-workout. Then check out what it is at the beginning of the workout, mid-workout, post-workout. Point being, post-workout, you want to have managed that sugar. Okay? You still want some remaining because I still want that insulin running in my body. I don't want to run dry. All right? I don't want to crash. So I still want to be higher than I normally typically would if I had not ingested this shit and had not worked out. I still want to run high. Okay? But I don't want to run too high. If you run too high, then that's just like spilling over pre-contest. You're going to get fat. Rather than just spill over with carbs and things like that, you're still going to have so much insulin running around, and it drives everything. You're going to get fat if you continually do that. If you continually take too much of the shit, more than you can manage, it's going to make you fat. It's going to make you big, but it's going to make you fat too. So you want to be able to manage that shit, and you don't want to burn out. So you want to be able to manage it. So end of the workout, you want to be able to, I run in the morning about 90, between 87 and 90 when I get up out of bed, blood sugar level. Pre-workout, after I've been eating throughout the day, I'm still running about 100, I guess. I'm not real high. When I take this stuff, and I'll take like 100, 125 grams right now, it will push me. I've done a video showing it with the meter. It'll pump me up. Very quickly, I'll go over 140, 150, 160. Now, I don't know exactly where it tops out. But I know by the end of the workout that I'm still running in the 120s, and that's after a really, really intense workout, which would be a longer workout for me, which might even be like, I don't know, hour 15, hour 20 minutes, you know, with a lot of intensity. Normally I don't even work out that long. So that's still high enough that I know that I haven't crashed, but it's not so high that I'm gonna spill over and get really fat from it. So anyway, that's what it is. That's what it's about. Yes, the anabolic window, as people most understand it, conceive of it, is basically it's bullshit because it's too late by then. It's just too late to account for digestion times and everything else, and it's not the most important feature around the workout. That workout around that area is a magical opportunity. It literally is, and you can exploit that if you know how to time your nutrient intake. And it really doesn't have anything to do with protein, because protein should already be on board. So sure, after the workout, you may want to throw some whey down there, something quick acting. But if that's what you're counting on, and you're running low on protein, your body's already cannibalizing itself, that's too little too late. You know what I mean? That's like closing the gate after the cattle already escaped. You got out. So give it a try and see. So I think anabolic window is actually more of an anabolic opportunity. Absolutely, it's real. Absolutely, it exists. Scoff at it if you will. But lots and lots of successful, big, muscular guys, they know it's real.